Welcome to Advanblack's official YouTube channel. I'm Steve, service technician for Advanblack, and today I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how to install your brand new color match lowers from Advanblack. Now we have a couple of different versions that you can pick from, guys, so it's very important that you pay attention on the website or when you're buying your parts that you get the specific lower that fits your bike. For the Rushmores, the 14 up to 20, it's very easy. The only thing that's required on your motorcycle is a stock crash bar. There's nothing else to choose from between street glides and road glides and all that good stuff. They all fit. Now anything pre-Rushmore 13 and older, you have to pay attention. Street glides, electra glides, and road kings can all run one lower fairing, but the road glides on the 13 down have a different fairing. So you have to make sure that if you have a 13 or older road glide, that you get the right lower fairing for your bike or it won't fit. The difference you're going to see on the road glide lower fairings is that the road glide upper fairings have a support bracket that comes down and attaches to the crash bar. So it limits you on space right here. On some of the older model 13 lowers, this part right here that goes over that crash bar is extended pretty far, and what happens is that gets into your support bracket. So our lowers for the 13 and older road glides, this part here is going to be shorter, so it allows you to mount the cap and not get into your support bracket. When you get your lower fairing, it's going to come like this with an installed glove box. This is a 14 up version, so it has the snap open glove box up here. You've got a vent lever down here that opens and closes this vent right here. On the 13 and down, you've got this side is all open and has a big round push door on it, and then the glove box up here actually is like a flap that snaps on. So it's very easy to tell the difference between the 13 down and the 14 up. If you guys want to run the speaker pods, those are sold separately and it's very easy to do. I'm actually going to walk you through it today on how to change them. But this is basically the glove box that you're going to be pulling out, and you're going to be replacing it with a speaker pod. Now I'm going to address a couple of questions that I get through phone calls and emails about the speaker pod. So we do have it listed at the bottom of the website on the pods that these will not accept the Harley-Davidson Boom Audio speakers. Now this edge is recessed in just a little bit, and it kind of goes in at just a little bit of an angle. Most of the speakers that I've installed in these fit just fine. There's a few of them out there, including the Boom Audio speakers, that once you get the speaker in there, the grill that goes on that catches this edge and doesn't really want to go all the way down in there. To address this issue, we now send spacers with your pods. So basically how these spacers work in here, you're going to have 4 holes for your speakers and you're going to have 4 holes to mount the spacer. So the way we do it is offset. You've got holes in the pods right now for your speaker, so you want to offset that. Go ahead and run a screw in where your speakers would go just to hold it in place. Go ahead and drill out your spacer holes, take the speaker screws back out, screw your spacer down, and then you can lay a speaker in here. This is going to move your speaker out away from the hole, and you can just about use any speaker grill that's on the market. Like I said, we can't test all 9,000 speakers and speaker grills, but this is going to help if it won't set down in there flush. So if I turn this sideways, you can clearly see that the spacer is a little bit taller than your pod in the recess. Some guys are absolutely fine with leaving it like that, especially if you have a black or darker colored bike. It kind of blends in and you don't see it. Now, like with mine, what I like to do, these are flat on both sides. I'll take a piece of pretty gritty sandpaper, lay it flat on the table. I will lay this down on that, and with my hand, just keep working it across that flat surface. You want to make sure that the surface that you're working on is flat because you want to hit the whole entire edge flat. You can take off 1/4 of an inch, whatever you need to do to get it to set flush on there. Now I've installed several speakers here in the shop that didn't need them, and I've had 3 or 4 sets of speakers that did need them. Now because these are sold separately on the website, I get a lot of calls of whether or not I can just buy these pods and put them on my crash bar without the lowers. When you buy the pods, this is what you're going to get. There's absolutely no way to just attach this to the lower. You can't just walk over here and set it on there. There's no way to mount it, and if you did, you're going to see all of this. It's just because this is made specifically to replace the glove box in the lowers. You got one big hole here at the top to run your socket and your extension through to get to this cap that holds the cap on. This just holds on to the other side. This again has absolutely nothing to do with this, other than you have to have that access hole to get to that nut. A lot of times we put a socket through there and this hole's a little too small depending on what kind of sockets that you have. That's fine. Drill that hole out a little bit. It literally takes like 2 seconds to drill that hole a little bigger. You can drill it from either side because your speaker is going to be in here. You're not going to see that. Drill that out so you can get a socket through there more easy. So when you get your lower, it's just like this. You've got the cap on it, you have the glove box on it, and getting that bolt to get the cap off with the glove box is very easy. Right back in there in that top of that hole, there's a nut. You want to go ahead and take that nut off. You want to use a 10 millimeter, put an extension on it, get down in there and take that nut off. Pull that out and stand your lower up and pull this back cap off. And what that does is gives us access to these 3 holes. These 3 holes here are what hold your glove box into place. I use a number 3 hex head socket, whatever you guys want to use. I just use these sockets and kind of use it like a screwdriver. You want to remove those 3 screws. And once you remove those, you can lift up the glove box, but you're still connected to the vent. Right here is the vent lever that connects to this handle out here. You basically just want to squeeze this in at the top. It's just plastic, and you pull it out just like that, and your glove box is off. So what I'm going to do is go over here and kind of half lay it off to the side, plug that back into my door, same way. This time you don't have to squeeze it, you just push it through and it's connected. I'm going to roll it over, let the vent lever slide into place to where this goes very carefully. Now I'm going to roll this back over, try to kind of get everything lined up. You can see the little brass grommets down in there. Get that lined up the best you can. You're going to take your 3 screws. Those are deep holes, and I have big fingers, so I use a pair of needle nose pliers, and I set it down in the hole gently. Let go of it, and that way it's in the hole. And I'll just get my hex head driver back in there and just start spinning it till it catches. Now before I snug those down really tight, I'll go ahead and flip this over and check my edges. I'll get everything lined up the best I can on both sides, and I'll start in the middle, torque that one down. You do not have to torque these down, guys. Just put a little pressure on them. They don't have to be cranked down really hard. They're not going to go anywhere. Now, we don't put our back cap on yet. We want to actually mount it to the bike. This is our mounting screw here. We got 2 bolts that run through here over a plate that goes around your crash bar. So you want to get those off. Now before I get this installed, guys, I want to show you this crash bar. Advanblack does now carry this crash bar. It is a flat kind of satin black crash bar. It's a stock crash bar. So for you guys that maybe have scratched your black crash bar or laid your bike down, or maybe you just want to switch from chrome to black, we do offer this on the website now. I'll put the link to this crash bar right down in the description. Installing the lowers, I want to touch on this real quick, and it may seem kind of silly to some of you, but I've literally had this phone call and guys are getting their lowers and they're putting them on, and they're not going on right. They're not seating on the crash bar right. They don't fit. They only go on one way. There is a left side and a right side. The easiest way to figure out which side this goes on is the vent itself is going to be closest to the motor. If I put this lower on the other side, the vent's going to be way out on the edge of the bike. It doesn't go out on the edge, it goes into the closest edge of the bike. So I know this one goes on this side. From here, you're going to slip your lower into place from the inside. We're going to set our metal plate back on there. We're going to get one of the nuts started at the top. At this point, do not run those nuts down tight because you still have adjustments that you need to make. And what I like to do is go ahead and mount the bottom while this is still loose. You're going to have a bolt, a rubber washer that goes on just like that. You're going to poke that through the lower through the bracket in the bottom, and then of course you're going to have a washer and a nut that goes down there. We're going to take our rubber clamp at the bottom. It goes in just like this from the front with this pointy end going down. Just kind of lift up on the lower, spread it around that. Take your bolt and your rubber washer. You're going to poke it through the hole in the bottom. There's only one hole. It's kind of an elongated hole. Lift up, spin that around. Get this in place, kind of pinch it up. Just like that. We want to get our washer. And you do have to pinch it to hold it in place, so keep that in mind. It will spring back on you if you're not holding it tight. Get that nut started. Once again, we're going to leave that loose for right now. So from here, the reason why I left it loose is because this has to be perfectly on the crash bar to get your cap to line up. So with it tightened down, you may be in the wrong spot. You can see I have quite a bit of movement in this. So I could have mounted it way in here, or could have pulled it way out here. Really, generally, it needs to come out towards you. I'm going to pre-test fit my cap first. See this little spike point right here on the bottom of this cap? It's going to go right in this hole right here. So you almost just kind of put it in first and then roll it around like that. Bring it up to the other side. It kind of locks in place. I want to kind of right there. If I pulled my bottom up, it started kinking the cap out. So I'm going to push the bottom back in a little bit, and it's going to force that top back up, and I've got a nice clean line there now. Now that nut that's down in there, remember the hole I showed you that you can drill out because you're blindly putting this in. Some sockets won't fit through that hole. Take a bit or something, Dremel tool, whatever, you can Dremel that hole out just a little bit bigger. It's not a big deal. I use a deep well 10mm and an extension. You're going to get your bolt. I'm going to keep this bolt from falling off once I set it in there, and I'm going, see, now once I set this in there and I have to go straight in, a lot of times that happens. To keep that from doing that, I use a little bit of grease. I use Lucas Red and Tacky because that's just what I have in the garage. A little bit on the head of the bolt. Set it in there. Now it's not falling out. So you can get you a little pen light or flashlight or something and look down in that hole to see where it's at. Once we get that started, you can kind of push on the back cap so you're not pushing it out. Once you get that snug down, hand tight. Don't put a wrench on that. Doesn't need it. It's just a beauty cap. Get it hand tight. If you want to put a little blue Loctite on there, you can. So just make sure that you have that nut hand tight. You don't want to spin it down too tight because then you can take the chance of spinning that clip back there around the plastic, and then you're going to be in big trouble because the only way to get to that is to destroy this outer cap to get to it. So hand tight only. Everything's on there. It's all tight. All your lines are clean. You've got clean lines on your pod. You've got clean lines on your cap. Everything looks good. You're done. All you want to do is just duplicate that process on the other side. So that's pretty much all there is to it, guys. If you're just doing the glove boxes, just skip the part where I changed it out to the pod. The glove boxes, like I said, are a lot easier. You don't have to fight with that bolt in there. You just open up the glove box and the bolt is literally right there that holds that back cap on. Make sure that you take your time. Make sure that you're putting them on the correct side. I know I say that and it sounds silly, but it's happened in the past. So just make sure that you remember that the vent goes closest to the bike. It doesn't go to the outside. You'll have them on the right side. Once you put the lower on the other side, it is complete. You're ready to ride. It's always a good thing to check everything that you put on your bike at least 2 or 3 times a year. It's really the responsibility of the rider, once you have these parts installed on your bike, to make sure that they stay on the bike. Okay, that goes with the saddlebags, the tour packs, the lowers, anything that you're adding to the bike. If you have any questions on this install, please leave it in the comment box down below and I'll try to help you the best that I can. I'm going to get out of here and get back to work. And until the next video, as always, be safe and keep your knees in the breeze.